Hello and welcome to the Just Interesting podcast, the podcast that's not boring, it's not too interesting, it's just interesting enough. And as always, I'm joined by the lovely Alex and Robin. How are you, gentlemen?
Hello. Yes, it's good to be back. It's been so long since we've done one of these live ones, so it's great to be here and great to be chatting with you both as always. How's everyone in the chat?
Good.
Feels like a very long time, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It does. It does. Robin, how are you? Oh, how long? Well, it has because
I'm okay, thanks. It's been a busy couple of weeks, busy couple of weeks.
It has been. I think that's the gist of this being a little while since we last did it, but I'm glad to hear you're both well. Well, yeah, this week we are going to be discussing the Satanic Panic of the 1980s. Just a little bit of background about what it was about, what was going on, the reasons for it, and I guess maybe we could discuss, has it actually ended? Are we still seeing these things today in some of the conspiracy theories we see today? But before we get into that, we will, of course, be venturing into the things that we learned this week. And we'll also be looking at your questions and your comments. And then we will be ending the episode with a lovely quiz, which may or may not, we need to have a look at this, decide who wins this season's quiz. So there may be a trophy on offer, but we need to work out the maths on this one.
I think if
I'm pretty sure if Alex wins this, he's won it. Yeah.
If I win the quiz, that means I've won the season. If Robin wins, then we have to stick around for another episode to decide who wins.
Sorry, guys.
Yes.
So I feel like I'm just going to beat you here and now tonight. I think that'll be the easiest way of dealing with it.
Just avoid the confusion over if you have actually won or not. Yeah,
exactly.
Oh wow! The Cat with the K is just commented, by the way. Sorry if I can. Just want to address Cat with the K's comment saying that they've just finished a D&D session, which might be something that comes up later. Could be.
It might be. Yeah, D&D and the Satanic Panic. Yeah. So, guys, before we get into it, I just want to, have a quick thank you to everyone who's supporting us on Patreon. You can head over there for more episodes of a little more interesting to see us, just a little bit more if you haven't had enough of us by the end of this one. But let's go into what we've learned this week. So, Alex, what have you learned?
Martin.
Lovely week of July.
So this week I learned about a term called Mithridatism. Have either of you heard of this, or anyone in the chat? Has anyone heard of this?
Mithridatism. Isn't that a disease in Lord of the Rings?
I was thinking Lord of the Rings. Mithril.
It does have a bit of a Lord of the Rings-ness to it, doesn't it? But no, this is not related to Lord of the Rings at all. It's actually related to Mithridates VI, who was an emperor of Pontus.
You're making up words now, Alex.
Who reigned in 120 BC. Pontus, no. Have you never played Rome Total War? Oh, never mind. Ignore me.
I've played Rome Total War.
This is Mithridatism is the practice of building immunity to poison through taking small doses.
Oh, that's cool.
Or I should say, you don't get immunity. You can't get immunity to poison, but you can build up your tolerance to it.
Yeah.
And anyway,
it doesn't sound like a great idea. I've got to be honest.
Why is that?
Hey, you've seen The Princess Bride, haven't you, Martin?
I'm just going to microdose poison for a while. Yes, it's kind of same as drinking, I guess, isn't it?
Well, he had a good reason for it, and the reason was his father, Mithridates V, was poisoned, and that's how he died. So, in order to prevent, the same thing happening to him, he, over the course of his life, took many different poisons in microdoses and built up a tolerance to them.
That's cool.
However, this kind of backfired later on in his life when he was finally defeated by the Romans in battle, and he tried to commit suicide by poison and failed.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so it kind of backfired on him in that way.
Proof in the pudding, though. You definitely...
it
works.
The last thing he did was, before getting stabbed to death by his enemies, was be vindicated, I guess. But yeah, that's where...
poison me.
If you're ever wondering where this came from, the idea of building up your tolerance to poison, it was this guy, Mithridates VI.
Fair play. Didn't work out for him, but
sadly not.
Seems like an early historical record of childhood trauma. something horrible happened to him, and he's just influenced his entire life after that point.
That's a good point. Yeah. I'm not sure how old he was when his father was assassinated.
I suppose, yes, could have been adult trauma.
But he took the reign straight over. Yeah. Oh,
it does
no,
make me
sorry.
think a little bit.
Yeah. Like, their mother took over, so presumably they were too young to take the throne at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, does this prove that the microdosing of poison was a success? Because technically it was, right?
Yeah.
Or was it a failure because he ultimately failed in his attempt? I don't know. I guess it's a success. You don't want people to die.
It was too successful. He tried to kill himself and failed. He also apparently kept...
I wouldn't use poison if I'd microdosed on building up a tolerance. I think the last thing...
It doesn't like an odd thing to do.
Cheers for the cheer, Peaswad. Peaswad cheered 200 times.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
I don't know what that... I'll be honest, I don't actually know what that is, Peaswad. Thank you so much.
Social media stuff does. But you're right. It does seem like an odd choice if you're in a kind of... Maybe he's panicking. He's just like, I'm going to take my own life so they won't capture me. And then I'm going to poison myself. I wonder if his brother or his mother is there just like, you know what you've been doing for the last few decades of your life? It's like, yeah, maybe you should try a sword. Like, no, poison's the way.
Well, I think according to one source after this, he did ask a soldier who was nearby if he would do him the honor of running a sword through him and killing him after the poison failed. Because obviously if he was captured by the Romans, then he would have been paraded naked through the streets of Rome and and then strangled probably.
What would you do if you were a soldier in that situation?
I would have done what my emperor asked of me.
Without hesitation? You wouldn't have been like, okay, everyone else.
I would have just been standing there waiting for a chance.
He's asking.
I imagine that the others wouldn't have taken kindly to it, would they?
Yeah.
The others hanging about the place, they'd been like, "What the hell have you done?" He asked me to. Does anyone have a record of this? No.
They won't see this happen.
No. You're dead then. You're being strung up. Yeah. It doesn't sound like the wisest option. But Robin, what have you learned this week?
On a slightly more banal note, we all like crisps, don't we? Or to our American friends, chips.
Bloody love crisps.
Chips. Yeah, we love crisps.
Yeah.
Like a good crisp. What's your favorite crisp?
Oh, good question. I think these days, salt and vinegar.
Salt and vinegar?
But not Walker's salt and vinegar. Walker's crisps, no. I like Tyrrell's and kettle chips. They're the best.
Tyrrell's, yeah, they're good. Yeah. And kettle chips, yeah.
They're pretty good.
Although salt and vinegar is
not my choice, though.
No, what's yours?
Oh my God, you put me on the spot. Even though I asked this question. Honestly, anything except for salt and vinegar. So I don't know what to say.
Oh, okay, right. Martin, what's yours?
They're going to panic and say something you actually don't like. I'll do that quite a lot. The one I really liked, but they've stopped making them, and that is Brannigan's. They made a roast beef and mustard crisp, and it was incredible.
Wow.
But they don't make it anymore. So now I'm a bit screwed. I've got to go for something boring, like McCoy's flame grilled steak.
If you live near a co-op, I would recommend going to a co-op because they've got fantastic range of flavors. They've recently introduced katsu curry flavored crisps, which are fantastic. And at Christmas, they had Christmas dinner flavored crisps. And I was like, wow.
I mean, that's perfect example. How do they refine a flavor? Like a Christmas dinner is a lot of different flavors. I don't know what that is and boil down to one flavor. How do they do that and just flavor?
It's true.
This is kind of related to what I learned this week, actually. So, I learned this week that the person who is credited with creating the first pre-flavored crisp was Joe Murphy, the owner of the Irish crisp company Tato, who in 1954 developed the technique to add flavoring to crisps before they went out to the shops. And the first flavor he created before that, it was just plain crisps.
Really boring crisps.
And Smith's had salt sachets that would go in, but you had to put the salt on yourself. Yeah. So the first pre-flavored crisps were invented, or commonly believed to be invented, by Joe Murphy in 1954, and his first flavor was cheese and onion.
Before just salt.
It was a damn good flavor to start off with. Yeah.
And salt and vinegar was 1967. 13 years.
Really?
Because in my head, the standard flavors are salted, cheese and onion, and salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
But for 13 years, it was just cheese and onion and salted if you open the sachet yourself.
I think we've gone too far. I think the crisp industry has too much power. I mean, Christmas dinner flavored crisps.
Too much power.
What are they doing? What's that? I don't know. Stick to the classics.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to have blended up a Christmas dinner, tried it, and then had to try flavorings to determine whether it tasted authentic enough of a Christmas. Plus, Christmas dinners in different countries, you've got different ones. Here in the UK, people have turkey, but in the US, a lot of people have ham, right? I mean, maybe I'll be corrected on that one, but I think ham's like quite common in the US. And I imagine that it varies elsewhere. So, you know, what is this dinner we're talking of?
I think they did cheat and they didn't have the main component. It was the flavor of Christmas roast. So it was like garlic and thyme and a roasted flavor. I think they did cheat and didn't include, or maybe they included them all. I can't remember. So you had turkey, ham, beef, lamb, everybody's meat, just in this one.
If they had like different types of flavors of crisps within the same bag,
I mean, that would be quite fun.
That would be interesting. I'd be on board.
Someone in the comments actually has mentioned Doritos roulette.
Yes,
nachos,
yeah, I've had them.
Which is, I have not tried those, but maybe I should.
Yeah, they're decent. Although I don't know, you kind of get a bit of cheese over everything, and it's a bit like the cheese ones are fine, but I don't want cheese on the hot one. I don't want cheese on the other one. So I don't know.
Post-punk poet has some strong opinions here. He says Smith's crisps are the best.
Smith's, classic,
yeah. They are great. I loved them as a kid, but I was rubbish. Every other packet, I would shake it and just get all the salt on the top few crisps, and you take a first bite and you're just like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, Smiths do flavors as well, right? They do flavors as well. They don't. It's not. They don't. You don't have to just have the solids. Yeah.
This is what happens when we do a live podcast. We just spend like
derailed
talking about
crisps.
What did you learn this week, Martin? What did you learn?
Well, I learned a question that everyone's been asking themselves this for decades, if not hundreds of years, and that's the question: Can I give my horse beer? Is the real question that we've been asking ourselves.
Huh.
Of course, because everyone wants to get drunk with man's best friend, which of course everyone knows is a horse. Misconception that it's a dog; it's actually a horse, according to many state laws. And so can you give your horse a beer? Can you share? Can you share a cold one with your horse? And the answer is yes. And I guess even if they could get drunk, then you could share a beer with the horse. But the fact is, they can't get drunk. And the reason why they can't get drunk, or not easily anyway, is because their livers contain a certain enzyme, which all of our livers do, but their livers contain loads of this enzyme called alcohol dehydrogenase, which means that the products of fermentation, which would get you drunk, are broken down via digestion really, really, really quickly to form carbohydrates, which can then just be used for their energy. So give your horse some beer, and maybe it will win the national because it'll have even more energy.
So they don't get drunk.
They don't get drunk. Try getting a horse drunk, you'll struggle. Although it probably isn't good for a horse to drink loads of beer anyway, is it?
I'm sure I've seen a bunch of comedies from the 60s and 70s where a horse gets drunk.
With drunk horses.
That's just.
I mean, I imagine that they break it down really quickly. Now, we're talking about beer here. So if you suddenly gave it a whole litre of 10 litres of vodka, you'd probably kill it. Let's be honest, you'd probably kill it.
Science must have tried. Science must have tried.
One way to know.
Wow.
Exactly. So so you can share a cold one with your horse.
I've been rewatching BoJack Horseman recently, and like he drinks a lot in that show. And I don't know. No, he does get drunk a lot in that show. So that's an inaccuracy.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
There you go.
Very true. Well, maybe speaking of inaccuracies, shall we move on to the comments of the week?
Yeah.
So, guys, have you got any comments that you flagged as being important enough to bring to the table?
Well, I've got.
Yeah.
Oh, after you, Robin.
No, after you, Alex. After you.
Well, I've got a comment from Sir Chris. This was on our last podcast. And I'm really glad I was vindicated here. So if you remember in the last week's quiz, I asked you about the phrase, the expression "eat crow," to eat crow.
Yeah.
And
yes,
neither of you got it. You were like,
awful,
eat
awful
humble
question.
pie.
No, neither of us got it from the clue that you gave.
What? It's a bird. It's a type of bird.
It's an Americanism, right?
It is an Americanism, but we were wondering that in last week's podcast, and Sir Chris has put the matter to bed. He says, I honestly thought eat crow was a commonly known phrase. Guess it's just a North American thing. From my brief search, looks like it's from 1850s America. And then he linked to an article. So it looks like that's where it came from. So it's good to know. Good to know.
That is good to know.
Good to know.
That actually, it was an Americanism. But I don't know why I've heard it then. I think just all the American shows and stuff I must watch. But let us know in the comments. Maybe. Have you ever heard the expression eat crow?
I mean,
and are you from the UK,
again,
actually?
Only, I think, in an American film context. Yeah. So, yeah. Let us know. Give us a vote. Quick vote in the comments now.
If you're in the UK or anywhere else apart from the US, let us know if you've heard that expression.
How about with the case says it's in Hitching a Ride by Green Day. I believe there was a comment on the podcast on YouTube pointing that out as well. Oh. So good knowledge, good recall to identify where that comes from. In fact, we had a whole bunch of comments about eat crow. Learned a lot about the phrase eat crow from the comments last week, which was amazing. I love
people
it when
are up in arms about it. Yeah.
Give educate us and give us information. Really do. But I was amused by one comment by Birdie Nyong'o, who commented on a video essay that we did last year about Hitler's niece.
Oh yeah, that was a great
mysterious death. Well, thank you, but it was for the channel. But I just occasionally someone comments again on one of our older videos, and this comment just amused me quite a bit, which was Birdie Nyong'o said, "He, as in Hitler, looks every bit the creepy uncle." And I just thought, that's a burn. Hitler's going to be really offended by
of all of
the creepy uncle. Yeah, that's the worst one. That's the worst one out there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a creepy uncle, and mass murdering, genocidal maniac. But
and that too. We can forget about that. But yeah, just the creepy uncle.
He is a bit of a creepy uncle, isn't he?
Okay, we've got a few responses in about eating crow. Ian Date says never heard it. He's in the UK. Crassus Wild says have heard it, but no idea what it meant. Aaron watching is from Canada says heard it. Postbook Poet says haven't heard it, but I'm British. And Camshai Coco says one of my uncles looks like a serial killer. That was sorry, I started reading that before I actually looked at the comment. Sorry, Camshai Coco. I hope. Have you checked? Do you want to check? Isn't intervention required here? Let's be careful. Please be careful.
Excellent. So from this very, very small sample size, I think we can maybe say that it's an Americanism that most British people, or a lot of British people, might not have heard of.
Yeah.
So I think you can be excused.
from me and Robin and one person in the comments. Yeah. Yeah. I'd say so. Oh, well, shall we move on to the main topic of the week and look at the Satanic Panic that gripped America, North America and the UK mainly in the 1980s. And so I wanted to, looking at this, it was a little bit difficult to find exactly where to start on this because it's such a broad and wide-reaching topic. But one place I wanted to start, that I think is quite a good place, is the book Michelle Remembers. So this is a book written in 1980 by a psychiatrist, a guy called Lawrence Pazder, and he had a patient at the time called Michelle Smith, and he wrote this book that basically was about Michelle's memories going back some years about how she was involved in a satanic ritual and how she was abused as a child, and so they investigated all these claims about what happened to her and supposedly of her memories. And the idea was that because she could remember what happened to her as a child, other children would remember this, satanic rituals and satanic abuse that happened to them when they were younger too. Yeah. So it turns out that actually Michelle Remembers and this book turned out to be a whole load of hot garbage. But what it did do was it put into the public light the idea that children especially in North America and in Canada specifically as well, were suffering at the hands of satanic abusers and ritualists who were undergoing lots of different bits of symbolism and satanic rituals, and they were basically getting caught up in this, and it got pretty dark pretty quickly. And so one of the most notorious cases was the McMartin preschool, which is basically a Los Angeles preschool. It's in California, and the children at this preschool and the parents said that there was a vast load of sexual abuse of their children when they were in care in the early 1980s. And so during this time, there was accusations of over 200 accusations against the owners of this particular preschool. And again, eventually all of this was dropped, but they were accused of killing babies, of having worshipping a cult, of devil worshipping in this particular preschool. And that they had this cult house where they had like a temple where they were undertaking all these particular satanic rituals and sacrifices in this particular place. And so from this, a lot of in pop culture, a lot of rock musicians like Ozzy Osbourne and AC/DC were accused of contributing to this satanic activity, and it blew up into something much bigger than anyone could ever imagine. And preschools and childcare especially was at the center of this, that people were abusing children and they're parts of satanic cults, even though there wasn't actually evidence to back this up. And so there was the kind of cases, as we've discussed before, of mass hysteria all across America in particular, that these children were being abused. And this basically took place throughout the 1980s. 208 counts of child abuse involving 40 children were accused of the McMartin preschool in California itself. And they're accused of drinking urine, of eating feces, of watching pornography with the children. So it's some really, really, really dark stuff. People were accused of killing children, of cannibalizing, and undertaking these satanic rituals. So this kind of took place throughout the 1980s. But ultimately, like, the evidence just wasn't there. And so the interesting thing is, how can we get to this stage where so much is, all these terrible things people are accused, and in some cases people went to jail for decades, for 10, 20 years, as a result of these accusations. And then when the police came in, there was a lot of the police were asking questions that tried to enable the children to say that they had been abused, and there was definitely the case of people thinking that children don't lie. That was a big thing in this, that children don't lie. And I think that's one of the most naive things about the whole satanic ritual, is the fact that they thought, above all else, we need to believe the children who are being abused here, in inverted commas, when actually we all know that children do lie, especially if you're asking questions to try and prompt them into leading questions. That's the word. Yeah, leading questions. And so they were using these leading questions to try and get these confessions of what happened, of this sexual abuse, and children, kind of went along with it, and people got implicated in these satanic rituals, and as I say, went to prison for years and years, for crimes that they did not commit. And then I guess if we look forward to today, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, it's so crazy how this all took off with so little evidence of anything going on. This satanic rituals, basically just like witness testimony in the form of, children being interviewed and asked what happened to them in very leading question ways. It was kind of searching for what the interrogators wanted them to say, almost. And in fact, the interrogation practices that they do there, I don't think they're carried out anymore, because they were so untrustworthy.
It's illegal, isn't it? You can't get confessions out of leading questions, can you?
No.
Yeah. But they were asking kids as young as 2 years old, like,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
These kind of things.
And asking things, it's the whole joke of, it shouldn't be a joke, but kind of, did they touch you here? Did they touch you here? And if you're the one sat there pointing at the doll and saying, did this person touch you here? Then the likelihood is a kid will go, yes. And then they reply, or if they say no, it's, are you sure? What did they say? And then asking, is this what happened? Is that what happened? And putting the ideas in the mind and basically getting children to parrot back these things.
Some of the children later on in life said that the reason why they lied in these interviews is literally just so that they could get the questions to stop, because they were like, they would eventually work out that if they said yes, that would stop. That would be what they wanted to hear, and that would stop the questions. Get the questions to be over as soon as possible.
How torture works on adults, but for kids, it's just a boring conversation.
Yeah, exactly. It's just boring. They just wanted to go outside and play.
Yeah. I mean, there's some pretty terrible ones. There was one of a guy called Paul Ingram from Washington in the US, and he was accused by his daughters of satanic ritual abuse. After, this was a little bit later, this was the late 80s. So of course it spread across the world, but particularly in the US. And they'd obviously seen this. and they thought that he was, influenced by, they had been abused by him in their younger life. That these repressed memories that are then coming to light later on of what he had done. And a lot of the time, men like Paul were actually admitting to some form of abuse. I mean, the fact is, the difficulty here is that abuse, of course, does happen. And whether it's satanic or not, I mean, the main thing is that children, whether it's attributed to Satanism or not, the main thing is that if children are getting abused, of course, that's awful. But the fact is, he said he confessed to this after so much interrogation, because people looking for like linear sentences based on the fact that they would go to jail for the rest of their lives if they were accused of what was being said. So they say, okay, well, I didn't do this, but okay, if the plea bargain, which is a crazy thing if you're being implicated in a satanic ritual, isn't it?
Yeah. But that's part of the issue with this case, and with I think a lot of these satanic ritual abuse, child abuse accusations in the period, is that the very notion of child sexual abuse was so taboo in wider society, Western society in particular, and I think specifically in America at this time. It seems weird now to go back as recently as the 1980s, which is a decade when a lot of people listening to this will have been born. The idea of stranger danger was still new. It was still a kind of relatively recent drive by governments to say, your child is in danger. And it feels like, because we grew up with that, or at least I grew up with that education.
Stranger danger.
Stranger danger, yeah. It
was
relatively new.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I was just saying that the system was not in place to deal with these kind of accusations and to interview children properly, because they just hadn't, there wasn't a system in place to properly deal with child sexual abuse and pedophilia, because it just wasn't known to be a thing. Partly because of other historical problems, such as homosexuality was often collocated with pedophilia, so there was a kind of, gays are the problem. And then once homosexuality became more widely accepted, then it was suddenly this awareness of child sexual abuse isn't just gay people and is a separate problem to people being gay. I'm saying that
it's mad to
perceive gayness to be a problem. Gayness is not a problem. Just making that clear. Sorry, that was my interjection. Martin, what were you going to say?
No. I was just going to say on the point of stranger danger, it doesn't actually make that much sense either. The last thing you want if you're around a stranger is someone to go completely silent and quiet around strangers, isn't it? Because that's the whole thing of strangers are dangerous, don't speak to them. And it's like then you get a whole load of kids being quiet around actually potentially dangerous people.
They've reversed that suggestion now, haven't they? They've said like if a kid is on their own to find another parent or something, and then go up to them and ask for help. I don't know. I don't feel qualified to give that kind of advice.
For all the kids watching this podcast.
I hope you're enjoying Satanic Panic. Yeah. Hi, kids.
Yeah.
Hi. We've got a couple of interesting comments coming in. Do you mind if I read a couple?
Please do.
Because Cryptid Assassin said one of the children in this case admitted to lying while in court and was known for behavioral issues, but the court still sent the accused to prison. And the child was 4 at the time. And then Crassus Wild makes the clear, obvious point that the irony is that while all this was going on, the Satanic Panic about satanic ritual child abuse, the church, and I think specifically the Catholic Church, is known to have been covering up child abuse amongst its own ranks.
Well, yeah,
to a certain extent, it's still doing that today, depending on who you ask.
Mad.
And Cameron Shai-Coco makes an interesting point about so many of the parents of the children involved came out of a generation who didn't speak of any abuse that they had suffered in their own past. And therefore the thought of their child being abused was just too much. And actually, that's an interesting point, because I confess I was guilty of assuming when Martin first spoke to Alex and me about talking about this particular case. I was a bit dismissive. I was thinking, typical gullible, ignorant American hysteria. Because we know how American culture comparatively is much more dominated by religion and right-wing thinking and traditional thinking, I should say. You can definitely kind of chart the umbrella social attitudes in America, kind of comparable to a few decades ago in Europe, for example. There's definitely a kind of a delay in America catching up in some respects. And that was my attitude. But Cameron Shai-Coco makes a good point. A lot of these people would have been overreacting, possibly because of their own issues that they might have experienced. I mean, that's
yes,
yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, in the US.
Sorry,
let's go.
I was just going to say, yeah. I mean, what other influences do you think could have influenced this in particular? There was, of course, that book that you mentioned, Martin.
Michelle remembers. Yeah,
but
yeah, I mean, do you think that's the thing?
Do you think like the 24-hour news cycle, that kind of like fear mongering almost would be just kind of starting around this time? And then you've got films like The Exorcist coming out, and well-known serial killers operating in the previous decade.
That's one thing. And popular culture has to. I mean, a big one for me, I think, is the Manson family. You're looking at a cult like that, and you're looking at the extraordinary in ordinary communities. You're trying to find the extraordinary, aren't you? And I think, the Manson family and other cults like them definitely have to have some kind of influence over a mass hysteria, because it's kind of it seems too terrible to be true.
So that was 1969, wasn't it, where the Manson murders happened?
Yeah.
So
and I guess you've got Jonestown. You got Jonestown as well. You got cults. Cults, I think, are a big part of it.
Yeah. And you've got well, I mean, I think the Michelle Remembers book explicitly, the first edition, accused the real life Church of Satan. That was a real thing.
Yes.
I think they accused the Church of Satan of being responsible for the abuse that Michelle Smith claimed to have suffered in the book. Although part of the pile of evidence against the validity or the truth of that book is that when the Church of Satan threatened to sue the author, he withdrew the accusation, which kind of suggests it wasn't real. But I mean, the Church of Satan is interesting because that was in the 1960s as well, wasn't it? Late 60s, I think?
It was the 60s,
early 70s.
Yeah.
So you've got this culmination, I guess, of, I'm going to assume, I don't know the direct link here, but I'm going to assume that the rise in spiritualism in the late 19th century gave rise to people like, is it
Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley, not Aldous Huxley, thank you. Aleister Crowley, who claimed to be a Satanist, and he died in the late 1940s, I think. And then I guess as a result of his influence and the hysteria surrounding him, you then get a generation of people who grow up in the 1960s and start forming these weird post-World War II kind of post-Christian countercultural cults, which some of them explicitly link to Satanism, which then, a decade later or a decade and a half later in the 1980s gives rise to people thinking, oh, Satanism is a thing. It exists in the background. So it makes any accusation and claim of Satanism and ritual abuse occurring in your neighborhood suddenly much more plausible.
Yes.
And of course, like you say, Alex, like The Exorcist was a huge sensation, a massive phenomenon in the early 1970s, which obviously gave rise to a lot of people thinking about possession as an actual thing.
There was also.
Oh, sorry, Martin.
I was going to say there's also high-profile murder cases of teenagers, especially. Like you look at the Memphis 3. There was that case, which was a massive case, and then there was the actual serial killer, Richard Ramirez, and these guys were into bands and music and pop culture that cross lines with satanic, at least satanic symbolism, or what people thought was satanic symbolism within this music and within this culture, right? And so there's this kind of this thing where everyone's thinking, okay, what the teenagers into these days, and the easiest answer is, they're into Satan type stuff, not really understanding what actually they're listening to or the music, and so it's the kind of blaming it on the youth. And I think there's this whole culture of that combined with panic about these high profile cases of murders and stuff, and it's easy to say, okay, let's link 2 and 2 together and make 5.
Going back to what you said earlier, Robin, like bringing up Aleister Crowley, and it kind of relates to what you just said, Martin. It's interesting because part of the like trying to find out and root out like Satanism in households at the time was taking people's rock albums and the music that they were listening to and playing them backwards, because it was thought that there'd be like these subliminal messages in the music that the artists were putting into the songs, and that it's thought could have stemmed from Aleister Crowley, because he had this line of thinking where he said you could learn to think backwards if you started talking backwards. So it's thought that could have come from his influence. So that would make sense, and it would be a direct influence from that kind of thinking and an early influence into this satanic panic.
And of course, art imitates life, and in the mid to late 60s, you had the rise of psychedelic music influenced by the rising use of LSD and cannabis, and a whole wave of pop artists like the Beatles deliberately playing things backwards, mixing them into their songs, purely as experimental music. Again, part of this whole countercultural revolution. And I find it's interesting to think that the natural symbols that counterculturalists would adopt, like the punk rock movement in the late 70s and the heavy metal movement, as well as the psychedelic movement, they're going to, because they're countercultural, they're going to adopt the symbols of that are not used by pop culture, which in a Christian society are going to be the cross, Jesus, and everything associated with that. So the first thing you go to if you want to be countercultural, if you want to be a rebel, is you're going to go, everyone else likes God, I'm going to like Satan. You know? And I think, and of course, at first, people probably most people probably would have dismissed it like, they're looking for attention. But there's always going to be that immediate reaction amongst the hardcore conservatives who are going to be shocked and like, what are they doing? They shouldn't do that. And then all it takes is a decade or two for that to kind of galvanize into people who use it, like the Memphis 3, Martin, was that what you're talking about? There were goths, weren't they, who were falsely accused of that. And they're goths, and they're literally just doing what they think is fun. It's meaningful to them, the way they dress and the symbols that they wear and the symbols that they draw and whatever. But to them, it's kind of trivial. It's meaningful on a personal level, but it doesn't mean anything in terms of the sinister side of things, because by that point in time, it's just kind of fun. But by the opposite end, the reaction, the hardcore right, is like, they're goths, therefore they're evil.
It's something that I'm not a rebel, guys, but in the comments, what's wrong with being a Satanist? And I think for a lot of people, as you say, people don't necessarily understand what a Satanist, in inverted commas, what they stand for now. A lot of the time, a Satanist, from what I see of a modern Satanist, would be someone who rejects conventional religion and almost mocks it. They're almost trolls of religion right now. It's like an internet troll for religion. They're not someone who hails Satan or even believes that there is a God a lot of the time. They tend to be atheists who their tag of being a Satanist is very much to reject that convention and that conservative Christianity, especially in America. So there was another point from Camera Shy Coco that says, so many of those parents, we've read that one. The thing is, Satanic Panic was just that, but the child abuse issue is and was very real. But it's easier to blame Satan worshippers than to blame family members, friends, and child carers. And that's very true. The truth of it is too bad, too horrible to think about. So it's easier to blame something
Satan
outside
must
of their
have poisoned their minds.
Especially when this stuff's going on, across the Bible Belt, where you expect everyone to be an upstanding Christian society, right? So it must be the opposite of what these people are meant to represent. I guess Christians, but also people who are meant to look after children. It's like the opposite of that too.
At this point in American history, you can't beat on black people because of the civil rights movement, and you can't beat on women because of the feminist movement. So you just create a new enemy, which is Satanists, right? At the same time, in the 1980s, you've got the AIDS crisis, so you beat down on homosexuals as well. So I think we shouldn't understate how the Satanic Panic is also very much a product of the rise of the extreme Christian right in America, which started in the early 70s and reached its zenith in the early 80s, and then still going strong today. But it's definitely a product of that. And probably, I'd like to say coincidentally, the fact that pop culture started exploring Satanism as a storytelling device and as a marketing device, I suppose, with pop music, like you say, certain bands would adopt that kind of symbolism, and stuff like The Exorcist and the Omen movies, all very big commercial successes, and the rise of people like Stephen King, who would dabble in that kind of fiction as well. And it's just entertainment to a lot of people.
But also, as you say,
indirectly feeding into this hysteria that's slowly, quietly growing in the background. Sorry.
Yeah. But also, as you say, like with the rise of like the religious right in America around this time, this has become it's normal for artists to explore the counterculture. So the counterculture at that time would have been Satan, if the religion is rising increasingly at that time. Cryptid Assassin actually mentioned a comment a while back saying, I know they blamed D&D for years for creating Satanists. That's referring to Dungeons and Dragons. And I found that like quite an amusing part of this story. There was, in 1985, there was a psychiatrist, Thomas Radecki, director of the National Coalition on Television Violence, created an organization called BAD, which stood for the Bothered About Dungeons and Dragons. And they thought, Dungeons and Dragons were turning children towards the occult. Yes. I just think in many ways, that kind of attitude has never really changed, has it? That's still going strong today with video games.
I was going to say that's the exact same attitude, isn't it? Like video games causing... And before video games were a thing, it was Dungeons and Dragons, role-playing games make people violent.
Yeah. I mean, they've gone from that to GTA.
They accused these kids, didn't they, of planning to mutilate animals and to kill babies during their Dungeons and Dragons sessions. I mean, if they ever went to one, they'd be like, these are nerds. Like, what? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of them being like, right, we're going to break in and we're going to find out what they're actually up to. And it's just like, they were just sat there just chatting.
Dressed up as like wizards and warlocks.
Yeah.
We've got
in a way, that's the Bothered About D&D is another example of what Camera Shy Coco commented on earlier, which is that one of the co-founders of that was a woman called Pat Pulling, who co-founded it in response to the fact that her son, who was an avid D&D fan, committed suicide. Yeah. And she blamed D&D for it. And that's clearly a coping mechanism. I don't want to belittle her loss or her sense of loss, but she clearly needed something to blame. Couldn't comprehend why her son would commit suicide, particularly understandably in the early 1980s, where even after a century of psychology, people still didn't really understand depression or how mental health worked, especially in children. So I guess both of you are leading me towards a conclusion that is quite complex. There's no simple answer here as to why the Satanic Panic occurred.
It's an amalgamation, isn't it? It's a hot mix of different things.
And I don't know if it really kind of ended, to be honest. You can look at, I guess, a recent story was the musician Lil Nas X, and his music video, and he released some Nike trainers that were Satan themed, and I know that kicked up a lot of media attention.
Didn't have a drop of blood in them or something, right?
Yeah, and also his music video was very
you're like twerking with Satan or something, wasn't it?
Twerking with Satan, that was the best way of putting it. Yeah, I didn't know how to. Thanks for coming to my aid there.
Robin knows all about this. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, yes, that's the whole reason this drums up attention. Like the authenticity of this is immediately undermined when you know that something like this will drum up attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, that still kicked up a lot of fuss and saying he's trying to lead children towards Satanism. So I don't know. Have attitudes really changed, or is it still the same? To be honest,
headlines sell. That's the thing, man. Like you look at the Amanda Knox case with Meredith Kercher. They called her a Satanist. They said that, with the murder in Italy.
2007 was it?
A few years ago now. And they said that it must have been a sexual sacrifice. They were saying, weren't they? And that she was like she was Lucifer-like was the word they used. And so if it sells, they'll print it, right? And so a lot of this is about that. I think nowadays it started off as people genuinely believing that it could be part of a satanic cult and that these cults could exist in daycares, etc. And then they found out, they went into the daycares and realized that it's just a whole load of wooden chairs and crayons. And but now it seems to be used, doesn't it? It seems to be used as a way of drumming up news around stories that they don't necessarily see as sensationalist enough in the first place. So I think it has changed, like the focus of it. But it definitely still exists in terms of pop culture.
Yeah, I was about to ask, when did this Satanic Panic come to an end?
Well, it seemed to with the McMartin daycare when the two people that ran the McMartin daycare were acquitted. I think that was in 1990 or 89. Right.
Yeah,
I think it was. It was right at the end of the 80s, and they were acquitted of these 240 allegations of child sexual abuse. And that seemed to everyone was like, okay, well, there's been 12,000 allegations, and we found exactly zero have substantiated evidence to back up the claims of satanic abuse. I think then people were like, okay, well, but it was still being plugged. I mean, I think it was Oprah in the 80s, mid to late 80s as well. She was talking about satanic abuse on that show, and that's like the biggest show ever, isn't it? So as I say, for pop culture, in terms of pop culture, it's always been there, and I think it always will be.
But I think you're right. It's coincidental that in the early 1990s, you also had the end of the Reagan era. If you consider George Bush to be a continuation of Reagan, then you've got the rise of the Democrats under Bill Clinton. You've got the end of the Cold War. So you've got the early 1990s as a transformative period for society. And like all periods as well, pop culture moves on. So heavy metal music was dying down in popularity in the early 1990s. You had the rise of other music forms in mass media, pop culture.
Rap causes gangs,
rap
right?
In particular. The new problem becomes rap causes gangs, and Satanism becomes less of a problem because the music that promotes it is falling into the background, is becoming less popular. But then, so I guess the Satanic Panic itself becomes just a background thing, but we see it resurging occasionally with and as you said, like in Italy with the Amanda Knox thing. This is not America. She's American, but it was Italian judges and lawyers and police who accused her of being a Satanist. And then, of course, very recently, sorry, trying to think about when it actually happened. Was it 2015, 2016, with the pizzeria in Washington?
Pizzagate.
It's still going, isn't it? Pizzagate, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is this, would you class
theory?
It is. Would you class the Satanic Panic as a conspiracy?
It's an interesting one.
I think it's definitely influenced a lot of conspiracy theories. And I mean, we mentioned him before we started recording, but how could we not mention him here? Of course, you've got Alex Jones talking about Satanists all the time. And that's in many ways how he kind of got his jumpstart in his career, making the kind of expose documentary of the Bohemian Grove.
This is true.
When he went undercover,
good point.
Infiltrated the Bohemian Grove, and I think he made the claim that they were doing sacrificial rituals, and sacrificing virgins or something, while he was there.
But in fairness to him, the footage is pretty satanic looking.
I was going to say, in fairness to him, they were all wearing robes, stood around a fire in the middle of nowhere. Some of the world's most powerful men. Yeah, he had a bit more to go on, to be fair.
Doesn't look great.
So there you go. It's that classic. It's that perfect blend of what's real, in inverted commas, rituals like Bohemian Grove, Ouija boards, which are popular toy, which then became taken very seriously, although their origins were in pseudoscience of spiritualism, and then books which were designed to be compelling but designed to be fictional, like The Exorcist, and suddenly give rise to things that are meant to be real, like Michelle Remembers, and then of course it's going to give rise to mass hysteria. It's just crazy, isn't it? The perfect storm, isn't it, to create these things?
Yeah, I do think it's related as well to the 24-hour news cycle of like what's the next kind of big fear that's going to drive up the headlines. Like you said, rapping causes gang culture, probably took off in the 90s, and then to be honest, I maybe had some relevance, after 9/11. Maybe this was just kind of an afterthought. There was a new big threat in the world.
It's true.
In a way, I guess you could argue, I wouldn't be surprised if someone has already argued this, that Islam became the new Satanism for a time.
Yeah.
And then as the war on terror, I'm going to say died down, but I don't know if that's quite the right term to use. As the hysteria around the war on terror died down, as administrations changed, as wars came to an end, as major figures in terrorists' movements were captured or killed, suddenly the shift goes back to looking internally for enemies on home turf. We don't have communists anymore. We don't have terrorists anymore. So let's go back to Satanists.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Do you think there'll be a rise of it then? A rise of this in the future?
I mean, QAnon there's a lot of Satanism in the QAnon movement. A lot of concern over Satanism in the QAnon movement.
Yeah.
So, I guess it is on the rise, but in the background, because it's only going to be in the foreground when people like Trump, who are associated with such movements and beliefs, are in power. And as long as the other side, so to speak, are in power, and therefore influence mass media and pop culture more directly, it's always going to be a background element, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's no coincidence that it reached its peak under Reagan and Margaret Thatcher and other right-wing governments in Europe, and then died down when you had left-wing governments in power in the 1990s.
I think Cryptid Assassin sums it up beautifully. Humans like to be angry at things.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Everything will be blown out in proportion. And I think with the Satanic Panic as well, there will always be people that do terrible things, and there will always be people that try and rationalize what these people are doing. And if there's no rational explanation, then we'll go to an irrational one and we'll believe that instead. I think that in the case of the Satanic Panic, there's always going to be a sense of some people who are kind of copycats, right? They see that the satanic rituals are something that people are up in arms about, and so you'll have bad people bandwagoning on that almost as an excuse for some of their decisions that they make in their life. If you look at some people that have done pretty bad things, and like Richard Ramirez, who said when he raped someone, I don't think it was one of his murders because they survived, but when he was attacking someone, he said, "Hail Satan, say Hail Satan."
Right.
And people could jump on that and say, okay, that's a serial killer, one of the most horrendous people in the history of the US judicial system, saying something about Satanism, like he's a Satanist. But actually, could it have been the other way around? Could he have seen the hysteria being caused by it and jumped on it as an excuse? If he gets caught, he can claim that he was mentally ill,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
it's
a good
what
point.
Came first, chicken or the egg in that scenario.
And let's not forget something that's in pop culture right now, a film that was released just a few weeks ago, which is The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Were you talking about Fast and Furious 9? Or what's Fast and Furious 9 got to do with this, Robin?
No, The Conjuring 3, which is, although the film is fictional, it's about real life case of someone who committed a mass murder and then said that he was possessed by Satan, or possessed by a demon. Similarly, years ago, over a decade now, there was that film, The Exorcism Exorcism of Emily Rose, is it? Again, based on a real life case of somebody who claimed or was believed to have been possessed by a demon that reached the courts in America. So you've got these real life examples, historical examples of people, as you say, Martin, using Satan as an excuse to explain their own problems.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
Oh, well, fantastic. I'm really interested to see what people think.
Yeah.
What you think are the reasons for the Satanic Panic, why you think it blew up in the first place, and whether you think it's still going on today, or what is the new Satanic Panic in today's world. Really interested to hear comments both in the comment section here on Twitch and also in the YouTube section if you're watching this on demand. Is the phrase, isn't it? On demand.
That's a weird thought.
Cool.
Yeah.
And thank you so much to everyone that's commented on the Twitch. We haven't been able to read out every comment, but there's been some really interesting ones, and I have been reading.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you. They're great.
Fantastic. Right. Shall we see who we can crown? If we can crown someone the champion of this season. Shall we move on to the quiz?
For it. I'm coming for that mug.
He's going to get it. Satanist Santa.
Good stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't have my buzzer. I'll
Alex,
get it.
You didn't come prepared. What is this?
You know what I'm going to go for, though.
You can just say your buzzer, yeah.
Oh, cat with a K. Just whilst Alex is finding his buzzer, it says LGBTQIA+ and transphobia are the new Satanic Panic. I mean,
I see.
Yeah, it's a thing. Hopefully, it won't reach that kind of level of hysteria. I would hope not.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, I totally understand that. I would hope that they're more LGBTQ and trans issues are a bit more accepted than Satanists.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think some people are maybe jumping on Black Lives Matter and thinking it's much more of a revolutionary force than it is. When people start saying that Black Lives Matter in this generic form is trying to end capitalism, I'm not quite sure exactly where you're getting this. This from, and the people taking the knee as well at the Euros, but that's a whole other story, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll do that next week. Yay.
yeah, exactly. Has it given you enough time, Alex, to grab your buzzer?
I've got my buzzer. Yeah, let me
Okay, great.
Get the scores up as well. Oh, that's wrong.
Fancy.
I need to move these scores as well.
No, Alex, you're at the top of the screen.
Yeah, I need to. I'll pop it up here.
Oh, that's what happens when you go live, kids. Everything goes wrong.
6-4, I win.
It's not going wrong. It's not going wrong. I just need to move some things around.
This is just.
How do I change these anyway?
Also, how I started on 4 points and you started on 6 points.
That's how we're starting things. No, that was a remnant from last time.
Alex.
I'm moving it. There we go. It's fine.
Only the most professional service provided to you.
All good.
Just interesting.
So, yeah, I'll be sure. I promise I will not look at the screen whilst you ask the questions, Martin. But it is all going through my computer, so I will need to go back to the screen in between questions.
Beautiful. Okay, this is really weird with your scores in different places, but we'll go with it. Okay.
Oh, hang on.
Buzzers, please, gentleman. I'll go with Robin's buzzer first.
Oh, mine's an old favorite.
Okay.
If anyone is in these woods, show yourselves.
Beautiful.
I can't believe you've done this. How could you?
I'm going to lose now, so I might as well annoy you whilst I lose.
No, you're not. You win with that buzzer.
And Alex.
Stick tap in here.
Okay,
well, I mean, you know what I've gone for.
The French champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence.
There we go.
Fantastic. Okay, right. Question number 1.
Oh, hang on. I don't want to look on the screen. Okay, go.
I see. Cool. Question number 1 is a closest wins.
Oh, hang on. We should say, for the audience,
easy.
Should we do the same rules as last time? Where the first three people in the chat that get the answer right, we'll give them a point, and we'll keep a tally of the winners in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Good. Okay. Question number one. Okay. What are the odds of having quadruplets?
What are the odds?
French nice and easy.
Has always been celebrated.
Did you say closest wins?
Closest wins.
Okay.
I heard. Who did I hear there? I heard Alex.
Oh, it's closest wins. I'm going to go for 1 in 250,000. 1 in 250,000.
Okay.
Chance.
Okay. 1 in 250,000. Okay.
Oh, man. Okay. Quadruplets. So 4 children at once.
Having 4 children in one birth.
1 in 250,000. Alex says that seems way too high. I'm going to go with 1 in a million.
So Alex has gone for 1 in 250,000. You've gone 1 in a million.
Yeah.
It's actually 1 in 15,625,000.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
yeah, I should have done it first then.
Okay.
So technically, Robin, you're
Yay!
Congratulations.
Nothing like getting a point on a technicality.
Okay,
so post-punk poet 1 to 4 million. That's pretty good.
This is horrible because I have to change the score. I have to give you points. This is awful.
Rowan is 1 in 4 million as well, which is close. And I think we're just, and Walrus Rider says 1 to 2 million. So those are the ones I saw before I read out the answer. So we'll go for those 3.
Rowan, Walrus, and Spiffing. Is that right?
Yes. Are you keeping tab of this, Alex?
Yeah, I'll keep tabs on my end.
Sweet.
Okay.
Cheers, mate.
Rowan's
I like how
1.
one person said 1 in 4.
80%.
Oh, 2 people said 1 in 4 million. Okay, cool.
Okay, so Rowan, Walrus, and Spiffing are all on 1, and apologies for everyone else.
With that.
Yeah, Postman Poet just missed it. Sorry, dude.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Oh my god. Okay, carry on.
Okay, question number 2.
The joys of doing it live.
Who is the youngest Prime Minister in the history of the UK?
French champagne. Show yourselves.
That was close, but I think Alex just got there.
I actually don't know the answer to this. I just buzzed super quickly because I need points, and I don't actually know that many prime ministers. So I'm going to go. He was fairly young. I'm going to go with David Cameron.
Oh, damn.
It was not David Cameron.
Damn it.
You get a point for the if it was the 21st century.
Is Dick Tap?
Did you say? Sorry, what was that last bit about the 21st century?
If we were just in the 21st century, you get a point.
Oh, okay. Phew. Yeah, because David Cameron was about 40, wasn't he? 42?
He was pretty young. Yeah, he's pretty young.
He was very young. That was my first thought, Alex. But then I remembered, famously, we were led by Pitt the Younger.
Oh, for goodness sake.
During the French Revolution. And
We were indeed.
He was young.
He was very young. He was 24 years old, the youngest
Wow, he
Prime
was
Minister
young.
in the history of the UK. 24, imagine that.
Makes you wonder what you're doing with your
Blimey.
life, doesn't it?
I mean, it was only achievable back then when, only the very prosperous could vote. And only,
Of course.
only the very prosperous could get into politics. So, yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Rowan got Pitt the Younger, and Manatee Orange got Pitt the Younger, and Ian got Pitt the Younger.
Orange, that's such a good name.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So Rowan's on 2, Manatee's joining the others on 1, and Ian has joined the field on 1 as well. Cool.
Postman Poet says, well, I'm younger than that. I'm 19. And it's like, yeah, you got time. You can be Prime Minister if you want.
You got 5 years.
I'm going to see you in 10 Downing Street.
Although the next election's not till 2024, so...
Oh, it'll be next year.
You've got a long way to go.
We're still younger than Jesus was at the end of his life, so it's always time to do something miraculous.
Some of us are only just.
Maybe not quite. Right, and with that is question number 3. What is a cross between a cow and a bison called?
Oh.
Ooh.
A cross between a bison and a cow.
Yeah.
the French champagne.
Can I go?
Yes, please do, Alex.
I don't think this is right. I think there's something different. Buffalo.
Okay. It's not a buffalo.
No.
Yeah, buffalo's its own thing, isn't
Yeah, well, I know that now.
it? I honestly don't know.
Cow and a bison.
Here? Is Dick tapping in these woods?
Oh my god.
Cowson.
Yes. Cowson?
Cowson.
No,
That's
it's not Cowson. Some people have said Cowson in the chat, by the way.
Okay.
But it's not Cowson.
I'm not alone, at least.
cow and a bison.
I honestly, I can't think. Is this like a Z-donk?
Is it?
Yeah. I went for it because I felt stupid not knowing that. So I was like, let's go for something.
It's really obscure.
Is it like an actual animal that we would have heard of, or is it? Yeah, is it like
no? Of course it's not. Okay. No, but what it is a bit of a pun on the on what's going on with it. I don't want to give too much away. And what I will say is, don't look at the chat because one person has got it right.
Okay. I'm not going to look at the chat.
Champagne has always been celebrated for its excellence.
I'll go the other way around then and say, is it a bi-cow?
Yeah,
bi-cow. It's not a bi-cow.
Oh, it's not a bi-cow. If it's not a bi-cow, it's not a cowson. What? My brain can't figure this out. How does it not contain elements of their names? Is it
these words?
Is it a cow bison?
It's not. Okay.
If it was cow bison, I'd be so annoyed.
Literally say the whole thing. Okay.
Yeah.
A clue here is think about the meat, not the animal.
The French champagne has always been celebrated.
Yes.
Is it a beef son?
No.
Oh.
Beef son.
Did anyone die here?
Robin. Yes, a cow.
You said it was a pun. Is it a beefalo?
It's a beefalo. It's a beefalo. And Walrus Rider got it bang on. He's the first person to comment back with beefalo. I think he's had one. So
Alex, you were so close to the very first answer. I'm so sorry.
It's all falling apart. The pressure's on.
I hate this. I hate this so much.
It's all right. You're gonna hand my ass to me.
There's plenty of time. There we go. Right, 3-0.
So hang on.
Who got it in the trophy?
Who got the right one? Walrus
Rider.
So Walrus and Rowan are drawing on 2 points. Did anyone else get it? Like at the right time?
No, just Walrus Rider.
Very good.
Very good. Good knowledge.
Oh my god, this is getting embarrassing. No, I don't like this.
There's plenty of time, but we are considering scratching the name off the trophy as we speak.
Oh god. See, normally when we record this and I lose horrifically, I storm off in anger, but we cut that out of all the podcasts. So,
No, Alex is not a sore loser. He's talking himself down here. He's a good guy.
You shut up, Robin. Don't you patronize me.
There's there's 7 questions.
I'm going to win.
Easily.
It's
and Martin might pull a fast one and do like, for 5 points.
You're true. I might
name these Alan Partridge quotes or whatever.
I'm not a robot guy says Robin kills with kindness. That is exactly what Robin does.
Oh, it's brutal. It's brutal.
You're like, oh, you're talking yourself down.
It's just 6-0.
I don't mean to.
Oh, now I feel bad. God, you know what you're doing.
Maybe.
You know what you're doing. Exactly.
No,
well, question number 4, and unfortunately for you,
he's got on my head.
Yeah, it's connected to James Bond.
Oh, for goodness sake, Martin!
Alex knows enough about.
You might know it. You may well know
this.
Before. You may well know this. Plus, if you buzz in, you may be able to think. There's room for you to answer this.
Okay.
Who sung the Bond theme for The Living Daylights?
Is Dick Turpin in these woods?
That would be Robin.
Afterwards, aha.
See, it was Partridge related in the end. Aha. It was indeed
despicable.
And Rowan got there in time.
This is outrageous.
1 point for
Rowan's on 3 then. What's next? Is there a rugby union question?
Well, to be fair, with rugby, you do stand an equal chance, Alex.
In fact,
the history of me getting rugby questions is actually quite poor.
Post-punk poet says Alex does a Piers Morgan next week.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, blames the weather reporter and storms. Yeah.
How dare you question me? And then storm off.
I must add here though, good some good knowledge from post-punk poet. he immediately said Pulp and then said, "Oh no, Pulp was rejected for Tomorrow Never Dies." That's true. It was, wasn't it? It was one of the ones that was put forward and then thrown in the bin.
And was it
right? Question number 5.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So I think I gave Rowan the point for that. Rowan's on 3 now. He's taken the lead. Yep. Cool.
Gosh.
Okay.
There we go. Well done. Well done. Question number 5. Who wrote the children's book, The Gruffalo?
Oh my gosh. No, what's the name?
Martin, we don't have kids. This isn't fair.
I know, right? Yeah, this is where I win.
The French champagne.
Oh no.
There's no such thing as a Gruffalo. He has terrible claws, etc.
I kind of like almost have half of the name in my head, and I'm worried that if I say it without knowing the whole thing, it would just give it away.
No one in our chat seems to have kids right now.
Is it like I think it's like a 3-name thing, but I don't know what the names are, so I'm just going to guess. Is it like
okay?
Something Carol Stevenson? No.
Carol Stevenson. I like it.
I'm thinking of something totally.
Oh. It is a woman. It is definitely a woman. I'm pretty sure.
I'll give you guys that. It is a woman. Yeah.
My head is saying it's something like Beatrice, but Beatrix Potter wrote Peter Rabbit, so I don't think it is.
Yeah.
It's not Beatrice, is it? So it's. I don't know. Is it one where you're not?
You might have to help us out here, Martin.
Yeah, can you give us a clue?
Is there a clue, or is that
happen? Yeah,
I don't think so.
Oh, no.
I don't think there's a clue.
Okay.
I'll give it to you. Two people in the comments have almost got it, but not quite. So I'll give them a point. I think it's Julia Donaldson.
Oh no! Okay, I wasn't thinking of Julia Donaldson
as opposed to Julie Donaldson. So Ian and Post-Punk Poet both said Julie Donaldson. It's not quite right, but it's close enough, I think.
Yeah.
And Post-Punk Poet has joined.
Yeah, I think so. He said he or she says it sounds right. I think that was right. So I'll we'll go for the point with that. Yeah.
Julie Donaldson, God, this is not looking good. What question are we on?
6. You got time.
There's time.
I need to get all the answers.
It's possible.
Robin cannot get another question right. This is tough. This is tough.
Okay, question 6, Alex. Come on, focus.
Okay,
you can do it.
Oh, question 6. Sorry, I'm on the page. Okay, go.
Oh.
In fairness, before we go any further, Alex does have a disadvantage of having to run the graphical side of this.
Yeah,
so that is an advantage to me. To be fair,
and also there's been a James Bond question.
James Bond.
A history question, and the odds question at the start. I should have really thought about that a bit more, but we live and learn.
Cool. Question number 6. This one is it's going to be a quick one. So fingers on buzzers at home too. Bobble, cloth, and hard are types of what? Sorry, what? Bobble, cloth, and hard are types of what?
Celebrated for its sake.
May I go?
Yes.
Hat.
They are types of hats.
Nice.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Nice. 2 people got it. Rowan and Spiffing both got hat.
And the comeback starts here.
Yeah, see, it's happening. I was actually going to go with head. So
hard head.
I would have got it wrong, but also clearly I was
bobblehead,
bobblehead, and then hard head. I was like, and then cloth head. I was like, that's not
cloth head. Your cloth head. I'm sure you could guess some kind of insult.
I like the suggestions of cheese. Yeah, cheese. Hard cheese.
Bobble cheese.
Cloth cheese.
Good cheesecloth there, isn't? I guess so. That's maybe where people were going with that one.
I think cheesecloth. Okay.
Cheesecloth. Yeah, so it's where you wrap a cheese in, isn't it? Cheesecloth.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It allows the cheese to to
actually
be okay and breathe.
A cheese shroud.
Right. There we go. Okay, question number 7.
Oh, bear with me. Sorry.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, you're good.
This one's for the sports fans out there, but also probably people who know a tiny bit about sport will probably be able to get this. Yeah. Which tennis player has the most men's singles titles at Wimbledon?
Champagne.
Show yourselves.
Has always been celebrated.
Champagne, I heard first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Alex first.
That would be Mr. Roger Federer.
It would be Monsieur Roger Federer.
Oh my God, what a guess.
Swiss maestro.
Yeah.
Yep. It is Fed.
Love it.
It's Fed. And I didn't check the chat for that one, but I think it was Rowan, Spiffing, and Walrus. We're all pretty quick there with that one.
Yeah.
Cool. Rowan, Spiffing.
Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to.
And Walrus.
He's going to get
It's
the
on
tie
3.
and get the
Getting
tiebreaker.
close.
Well, so I
He's
should
gonna
say, so far, Rowan is beating both of us, Robin.
Both
He
of us
is on
5.
5. So he is winning the quiz.
Smashing it.
Walrus and Spiffing
Well
are
done,
both beating me. They're on 3. Also, let me know if I've made a horrible miscalculation here. If anyone feels unjustly, or they deserve more points.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well done, Rowan, so far.
Very good. 4-2. 4-2. Alex, it's on. It's on. Although it won't be if Robin gets this next one. Question number 8.
Stop saying it.
What species of dog is the fastest in the world?
French.
Show yourselves.
Champagne.
Did anyone
I heard
dare?
French champagne.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with the classic greyhound.
It's a greyhound.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Yes. Great
It's a
dog racing, right?
greyhound.
Yeah.
See, when it comes down to speed of buzzers, Alex is always the king. Always
Well,
the king.
I'm happy it's at least getting into it being an interesting quiz, a little bit, closer to it.
Absolutely.
He's going to take
It's
it.
close.
He's gonna
It's close.
take it. Come from behind. And
So,
Who got that one then? Rowan and Walrus, I
Oh
think,
my
got
gosh.
that one.
so Rowan is still in the lead. He's got 6 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Very
Walrus
good.
is on
Very
4.
good.
wow.
So it was just those 2, was it? A couple of suggestions for
Yeah,
whippets.
just those 2.
Yeah, we used
Few
to have a couple of
whippets,
whippets. Loved
Yeah,
whippets.
they're quick as
great
well, aren't
dogs.
they? Yeah. Kind of similar to a greyhound. They're just a bit smaller. Is that right?
Yeah, they're just
Small
small.
small greyhound. Yeah. Fantastic. Right. This is a big one, Robin. This is a big one. If you get this one, then you're out of sight.
This is all psychological now.
Okay.
This is trying to psych me out.
What is the highest selling board game of all time?
Been in the
French
woods.
champagne.
Show yourself.
Has always been
Oh
my
celebrated
goodness.
for its
I think that was simultaneous, wasn't it?
That was incredibly close.
Oh dear.
Oh man.
You got to make a choice, Martin. Do you want to
Ooh.
make this interesting? Do you?
Do you guys want to do an on-screen rock paper
now.
scissors?
No, that's okay. No.
Well, I can't look at the screen, so.
Okay,
yeah.
you go for it. You go for it, Alex.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go for it. It'll make it more interesting.
Oh, sorry, Robin.
No,
I mean,
go
I don't
for
know.
it.
I don't know the answer, and I'm probably going to get it wrong. But Monopoly.
It's not Monopoly.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not. And I've just thought of what it is. God damn it.
Okay.
Robin, do you have anything in mind?
Well, now I'm all confused. If it's not
Oh.
Monopoly.
Oh,
Oh, is it going to be?
it's not Monopoly.
Is it going to be Scrabble?
He didn't buzz. That
buzzed
goes on to
before.
me. Oh yeah, he did. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
It is not Scrabble.
Oh, wow. Okay. That
Okay.
was the one that I was actually thinking it was going to be.
See, I thought it was going to be Monopoly.
Mhm.
It also depends on what exactly is being classified as a board game here. This is my.
Yeah.
I can't ask you what's classed as a board game without you giving the answer away, I guess.
Yeah,
So
I guess so.
Is a deck of cards a board game?
well, exactly. It could be a deck of cards. It could be.
Like
I
a
guess
poker
is
set?
it played on? Is the
But not
game
necessarily.
played on a board? Is the
Yeah.
game played on a board?
Because
That's it.
the best sold board game of all time.
it's not Monopoly. That's surprising. And
Wow.
it's not Scrabble.
No.
I mean, I'm going to go for it.
Is there anyone here that wants to make contact?
Robin, is this for the win?
Probably not. But I was thinking, is it chess?
It's chess.
For
goodness
sake.
It is
Yes.
chess. Chess is played on it. It's played on a board.
It is played on the
most
board,
of the
but
time.
weirdly, I've never thought of it as
You
a board
wouldn't
game.
think
Don't
of it
know
as a
why.
board game, though, would you?
Yeah, I just don't think of
No,
it as a board
it's
game.
not.
But it predates the others, so I guess it's had a lot longer to sell.
Yes.
And
yeah,
actually,
exactly.
looking
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So looking at it, I think Walrus was the only one to get it. And they asked, but I don't know, because they said, does chess count?
Does chess count?
See,
Ooh. He already guessed Scrabble too, though, so I don't think I'm going to give that.
So in that case, I don't think anyone got it.
Or should I give that? Oh, yeah, why not? I have a point. Yeah. No, because you guys had a couple of guesses too, so yeah.
We did. If we get a couple of guesses out, we can definitely give the listeners some guesses.
Yeah. No,
so is that it? Robin won this
right.
one. Robin's won this one, hasn't he?
Robin has indeed
won a chance.
This quiz.
No,
there's two more questions, right?
No, there isn't. There isn't, Robin.
Well, to be honest, I could if I really wanted to, I could open this up. But initially, I wasn't expecting to.
Okay.
As in the next question could have multiple points if we wanted to.
See. Well, you are the quiz master. It's up to you.
I'll see what you guys think. Okay, let's go for it. Let's make it interesting. Why not? Okay. Question 10.
I'm really sorry if I...
The original question was, how many countries bordered Germany?
What?
The initial question, Germany.
Border Germany.
But we could make it, can you name the countries that border Germany?
Oh, okay.
Should we do that? What do you think at home?
Has always been celebrated for its excellence.
I mean, I'm buzzing.
Okay.
So in terms of points distribution, are we saying that you get a point for every country you name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought the initial question was, how many countries are bored of Germany? I was like, what?
Bored of Germany?
Strange question.
How many board games are played in Germany? Okay.
I mean, do we want to guess how many first for a point? What do you think? I mean, this is really ad hoc now, isn't it? This is descended into madness.
You've let this go off the rails.
I mean, Alex buzzed first, and he still hasn't given an answer, so you should give his go first.
Okay, Alex, yeah. Give your guess of the end.
So I'm guessing the amount of countries that border it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna guess 7.
Okay. It's not 7.
Damn it.
Oh,
Robin, you have a guess too, and then if you don't,
I was going to say 7, so I'll say oh, what does that mean though? Should I go down or up? 8.
8. No, neither of you get a point. It's 9.
Oh right, okay.
It's 9 countries border Germany.
Well,
now,
I could have guessed again.
Can you name them?
Oh yeah, okay. Oh
no.
Show yourselves.
Oh, for goodness. That's not... No. Okay, whatever. I'm having my Piers Morgan moment. Go away. How about whoever can name all of them gets 2 points.
So,
okay, Robin, you're on.
I mean, I can't name them all because I didn't realize there were 9. So clearly there's a country I haven't thought of.
Wait, hang on. Let's talk about the points distribution here, because if Robin gets any, then I can't win. Or he needs to get like 4 or something.
Right. Well, let's go completely maverick. Should we say if you get any wrong, then you lose a point?
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I like it.
So if you get 1 right, then it's a point. If you get 1 wrong, then it's minus a point. What do you reckon?
As long as you don't, because if I guess, can I guess 5 and then stop, knowing that I can't guess 9, and not be deducted 4 points for that? That's allowed.
Yeah. I feel like you should. Okay. I feel like there's 3 points on offer, and you have to get all 9 to get the points. I feel like it should be like.
I'm trying to help you, Alex, but that's just mental.
No, okay. I think I could get all 9. I think I could get all 9.
I'll start listing them, and Alex can finish off.
Okay.
As I know he likes to do. So, Belgium.
Okay.
France.
Okay.
Austria.
All right.
Poland.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure Denmark.
Okay.
I want to say the Czech Republic, Czechia.
Okay.
I also think maybe Switzerland.
Okay.
I bet that's wrong, isn't it? And how many have I said? France, Belgium, Switzerland, Czech Republic, Poland, Austria. I've said 6.
I think I had 7 that you'd said.
Denmark.
You said
Denmark.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You said.
Okay. So
Holland? You can go for more if you like.
Holland.
Okay.
One more. Not does Italy border? Oh.
This is the area that I wasn't sure if it's either that or another one.
Because Austria's south, isn't it? And Italy is south of Austria, so it's not Italy. It's Luxembourg.
You smashed it. You got all 9.
Yep.
No way.
Yep.
Well done. So that's 14-3 now. Then
that's unnecessary.
I'm not even going to put the points up there. That's
you
pointless.
have to put the points on the screen.
That's mad.
No, that's all right.
Well done. No, that's very well done, Robin. That's really good.
Fine. Sorry, Alex.
Especially with Denmark. I thought you did really well with that one. That wouldn't have been my initial one that I would have gone for.
I would have got all of them. So
you would have. I know you would have. Just if anyone's interested, the reason I knew Denmark is because I've watched enough World War II documentaries and movies to know.
Oh yeah, they invaded
the first ones they invaded.
yeah.
True, and that's how I started. Which countries did Germany invade? That's how I started.
I didn't know that. Wow.
I didn't invade Denmark first, but it was one of the first ones they did invade. Yeah.
Oh, so I mean, I don't know how we would judge that in the chat. Did anyone get all 9?
I don't think so, but well done to everyone who.
Netherlands, Belgium.
Oh, actually, Manatee Orange. I don't know when they actually said it,
France,
but that seems like they.
Switzerland.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I think they got it. Yeah.
Manatee Orange.
I mean, an honesty policy here, but well done.
Thank you everyone for enduring that.
Ian seemed to 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Ian got 7, which is pretty good going. 5, 6, 7.
I'll give Ian a point for that.
Same with post-punk. Same with post-punk poet.
Nice.
Yeah, points all round. Everyone had points all round.
Everyone gets 10 points, including Alex.
I can't. So now we have to have another quiz, don't we? So at the moment, I think.
Yeah.
What is it? You've had 12 quizzes, and I'm on 11 quizzes, and we're now drawing. So I think I need to have another quiz. Maybe
that's me versus you, Alex. And then if I win, then your trophy celebration gets delayed again.
This doesn't seem. I don't know where we've gone wrong here. But
if you win, you win. If you don't win, it's a draw, surely, because then you've had the same amount of quizzes.
Yeah, that sounds right. I don't know. We need to properly go through and work it out. But essentially, I was set to win this season. I was set to be, Robin won season 1, Martin won season 2. I was going to win this season, but Robin has snatched victory away from me.
Though. I haven't. You could still do it because you're on.
It's 14-3, Robin.
In this quiz, except I've played 12, won 7. You've played 11, won 7. So you just need to win one more, and you've got it.
Exactly. Yeah, but if you draw, if I win, then it'll be a draw, right? Between you two, and I'll have to saw the trophy in half.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Do you want the bonus question?
I actually don't.
Yeah, please. Yes.
No, of course I do. Yeah.
When was YouTube founded? Go on. Closest wins.
Is Dick Chapman in these woods?
By that
Show yourself.
I'm going for month as well, by the way, for anyone in the comments.
Who went first there?
Show yourself.
Go on, Robin.
Is there anyone here that wants to make contact? If anyone is in these woods,
yes.
Robin, stop the buzzer. Go for it.
I just wanted to hear your lovely voice. No, Alex, go first. Yeah.
What? Okay. I will say when it was found. I mean, I know the first video I think it was 2006. So I think it may be a bit founded a bit earlier. So I'll go like July 2005.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2006. I couldn't tell you the month. So April 2006.
So you went April 2006. Alex, you went July 2005.
Yeah.
Alex, it's 14th of February 2005, so you get a point.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
Oh. Yeah, Valentine's Day 2005. So there was people who were close. my chat's just gone, but well done if you were close. Congratulations.
Let's see.
2005. Oh, I'm back. April 2005, Manti Orange.
A lot of 2005s,
Yeah, nice. Good knowledge, people. Good knowledge.
April 2005 is the closest I see, yeah.
April 2005, yeah, that gets the point.
Manatee, well done.
Well done, Manatee. Yeah. And well done to everybody.
So in the chat, Rowan got 6 points, so you won the chat quiz of the week, so well done, Rowan. Next, there's Walrus on 5 points, takes an admirable second place, and then Spiffing and Manatee are joint on 3 points each. And and Ian
Spanner in the works.
Yo.
Walrus, when he guessed 2005, and then I said I need the month, and Walrus said April. There we go. So that counts as a point there. So joint first as well.
Joint first with Rowan. Good. So well done to both of you. And then actually, it kind of works out. So Rowan and Walrus joint first, and then Spiffing, Manatee, and Ian on 3 points each. So joint second.
Well done.
And Post-Punk Poet on 2 points. So very good as well. So nicely done, everyone. Boudica.
Super.
Boudica.
And I'm very sorry if I miscalculated any of your points there. Do let me know if I was wrong. But well done, everyone.
Yeah, and thank you all for joining us for this.
And thank you, Martin, for that quiz. Thank you for
chaotic one. That was no trouble.
Thank you for putting in the James Bond question. And
sorry,
no,
music question, not James Bond question.
No, it's fine. It's fine actually. I'm not a sore loser.
It was a fluke. You had to handle all the graphics and stuff. Your mind was on 2 different things at once. I had a huge advantage there. It's not fair.
Fair enough, mate. It's very humble of you. But anyway, next week is going to be mad again, isn't it? Based on the quiz scores anyway.
If I don't win the season, I'm going to freak out. I don't know what
it would be. It would be a serious choke.
I'm going to break something. Yeah, for sure. It's going to be worth watching.
So everybody tune in to YouTube next week to see Alex freak out live on camera.
Smash the painting behind him. Yeah.
And then it will turn into a soundbite that will then become the buzzer for Series 4. So
Oh yeah.
Silver linings to all of this. Silver linings. Anyway, Thank you so much to everyone watching at home. Really appreciate it. Thank you on YouTube and of course on Twitch as well. If you haven't followed us on Twitch already, to people at home and here, then please do. And I guess we will see you next time. Have a wonderful week and enjoy yourselves.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.